I'd like to call our meeting to order. It is 6 o'clock, and we do have a board quorum present. If you will please stand for our invocation, which will be led by Mr. Dunn, and then our pledges of allegiance, which will be led by the Lanier Middle School students. Our Texas pledge will be led by 5th grader Jeremiah Garza, and the U.S. pledge will be led by 6th grader Adrian Oscar Lejos.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for tonight. Father, I just thank you for bringing us back together after a great week of Thanksgiving, and we do indeed have a lot to be thankful for. Father, I just thank you for the folks that are here to carry out the work of the district. Thank you for our visitors, the special recognitions that we get to do tonight. We're proud of our faculty and our students, and it's great to have them here and to get to honor them. Father, we just pray that things that are done tonight will bring honor and glory to your name. We just thank you for this. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one nation, under God, one indivisible.
I'd like to ask our board to start making its way to the front as we transition into our awards, achievements, and recognitions. I will now turn the presentation over to Mrs. Carla Gilbert.
Good evening, President Howard, Superintendent Massey, board members, and all of our guests. We start our meetings off with recognitions, and it is a wonderful way to begin any meeting. First, I'd like to have Assistant Superintendent Mr. Yost and Assistant Superintendent Rita Cundiff to please come up. Good evening. During the 2020 school year, BISD began the Essential Educators Program to recognize educators across the district for their exceptional impact on students during an unprecedented time in education. Throughout the year, it became clear to everyone that teachers are truly essential personnel, and we realized that this is a practice we wanted to continue moving forward. This school year, we will be recognizing an elementary and secondary educator each month in order to recognize a teacher's continual efforts to provide high-quality education to students. Educators are nominated by campus personnel and selected in collaboration with a campus principal. Kendall Goff, music teacher at Freeport Elementary and former Brazzenswood High School graduate, is being recognized this evening as the Elementary Essential Educator for the month of November. Kendall, if you could please make your way to the front. We are proud of her dedication to serving the students at Freeport Elementary through music for the last 12 years. What makes Ms. Goff stand out is her love of dance and how she goes the extra mile to provide her students with dance instruction after school hours when her music classroom transforms into a full dance studio that is outfitted with a ballet bar and mirrors. Mrs. Goff started the On Point dance class in 2014 with the support of her family, her principal, generous donors, and a grant from the Education Foundation. She has overcome many challenges, such as the combining of two schools, the dividing of grade levels and shortage of costumes, and of course, COVID. She, along with 4 volunteers, currently have 38 dancers enrolled in the after-school dance program. The students pay a minimal $35 fee for jazz shoes and an on-point t-shirt with no additional costs for training or costumes. We want to thank Mrs. Goff for her exceptional impact on students during these continued unprecedented times in education, and thank her for instilling a love for music and dance to her students.
Clute Intermediate. Mr. Jackson is an 8th grade math teacher at Clute Intermediate and was awarded the Secondary Essential Educator Award this month. Mr. Jackson has been a teacher in BISD for about 10 years, serving at both Lake Jackson Intermediate, where he was the 2016 Teacher of the Year, and now Clute Intermediate, where he was the 2019 Teacher of the Year. Mr. Jackson is also currently in the Aspiring Administrator Academy, and we look forward to seeing his accomplishments in the years to come. As his students say, Mr. Jackson just makes math fun. Congratulations, Mr. Jackson.
My pleasure to invite our athletic director, Mr. Jay Zeller, to please come up to present the next awards.
Good evening, Mr. Massey, Board of Trustees, community. Tonight we're here to celebrate several groups on an outstanding accomplishment so far this fall. It's been a really exciting fall. I want to start by recognizing our UIL State Cross Country qualifiers, Giovanni Diaz and Diego Moya, and their coach, Coach Michael Tummins. Gio and Diego are 12th grade athletes at Brazos Wood High School and part of our boys district champion cross country team. With the district championship, the boys qualified for the Region 3 cross country meet in Huntsville. Gio and Diego each earned a trip to the UIL State Championships based on their top 10 individual qualifier finishes. Diego finished 14th in the regional meet to advance to state. Gio finished 15th. You can see they pushed each other through this grueling course in Huntsville. Gio and Diego competed at the UIL State Championships on November the 4th in Round Rock. The state meet saw 156A boys competing in the final race of the year. Gio finished the race in 16 minutes 39 seconds and in the 61st position in state. Diego finished the race in 16 minutes and 51 seconds and in the 80th position in state. These athletes, along with their male and female teammates, logged rigorous miles throughout the summer and fall in preparation for district, regional, and ultimately the state championship meet in Round Rock. Congratulations, Gio and Diego, for your dedication and grit to qualify and compete as proud members of the Buck cross-country teams. Now for a couple of groups that probably at this point in the fall don't need much introduction. This is, I told Coach Brown, I said this is another step in a bunch of recognitions, but those are good things. You know, you've had an amazing season when you've had this many different events, but it's awesome to be able to recognize the students and the coaches for their performances and the way that they represented Brazos Fort ISD this fall. So I'm going to first read through this since we have a big group, and then I'll introduce the girls players, and then I'll read through the boys. The inaugural year for UIL water polo, our Bucks and Lady Bucks made history. Each team cruised through non-district and district play with the October playoff season in their minds, specifically the state tournament on October 29th. UIL state runners-up, our Lady Bucks, they defeated their first three playoff opponents by a score of 61-9 to earn a trip to the regional tournament. The girls faced their first challenge of the playoff season in the regional semifinal versus Bridgeland. Down 1-5 at halftime, the Lady Bucks took command of the game and finished regulation tied at 5. They went on to to add 4 more in overtime to clinch a 9-5 victory and trip to the regional finals, where they defeated Cy Ranch 13-7 to qualify for the state tournament. They faced undefeated San Antonio Brandeis, or Brandeis, not real sure which it is, in the state semifinal, and handed them their first loss of the year in a 15-4 win. They then went on to face Richmond Foster for the 4th time in this season in the state championship game. Lady Bucks competed and forced Foster to bring everything they had before falling 6-12 to become the first ever UIL water polo state runner-ups. We're very proud of our girls for the way that they competed and represent Brazos Wood High School and Brazos Fort ISD. And now I'm going to introduce the team in numerical order, so they can just kind of come up and go. Ladies, just kind of go around the group here, and we'll take a picture. Gigi Lauer, Minnie Tran, J.C. Fort, Mallory Kessler, Sarah Gambrill, Sarah Mitterling, Maria Alfonso, Sydney Slater, Emma Messervy, Alex Sparkman, Allie Jones, Kendall Dane, Michelle Eby, Mallory Varga, Anna Rochelle, Hannah Poirier-Picard, and not present this evening, Victoria Martin. And then, of course, our coaches, Coach Brown, Coach Painter, come on in.
Board members, if you will step up, and I'll put you. No, you're fine. Okay, that's perfect. Okay. Mr. Atkins? Yes, you'll come over this way. Mr. Dunn, if you'll come over this way. Okay. If you two will switch places. Switch places.
Because of Mr. Dunn.
Does that work?
Yeah, it does, thanks, Carla. All right, we're here too. And then after I'm done, anybody's welcome to step, you're welcome to step. 1, 2, 3, and a second. 1, 2, 3, hold it. Hold it.
All right, and now for our state champion, Bucks. So like the ladies, the Bucks defeated their first 3 playoff opponents by a score of 56-18 to earn a trip to the regional tournament. The boys faced their first 2 challenges of the playoff season in the regional tournament in Strake Jesuit and Pearland Dawson. Both the semifinal versus Strake and the final versus Dawson required overtime for the Bucks to secure the victory. The Bucks defeated Strake Jesuit 16-15 and Pearland Dawson 15-13 to earn their trip to the UIL state tournament. They faced a tough South Lake Carroll team in the state semifinals before knocking them off 16-14 to advance to the state championship. They then went on to face and defeat Bernie Champion to become the first ever UIL state champions. The Bucks' previous 3 games readied them for this challenge in the state championship, and ultimately they pulled away from Bernie Champion in the second half to become the first ever UIL state water polo champions. And now to introduce the boys in number Jaden Arana, Braylon Ponzi, Mason Potter, Anthony Surrey, Sean Brown, Jack Lauer, Brady James, Jackson Cobb, Diad Shui, Kason Horn, Colin Hyatt, Hayden Donnelly, Michael Johnson, Ben Gonzalez, and Nathan Napoli. Not present this evening, Luke Mixon and Landon Castor. Ladies and gentlemen, along with coaches, Coach Brown, Coach Hayner, your state champions of
All right, we know how this works. Come on down. Okay, Carla, Lenny, okay, turn. Yeah. Hang on. Okay, wait. That's it. Okay, board members, if you'll stand up, step forward. Start there. Could I have you right over places for the perfect. That's excellent. Amen.
Move you around.
That way she has to step. A big back over a little bit. Don't want you to hit there. There we go. Excellent. Yeah. And hold your certificates up. And hold them up nicely. There you go. Not over your face though. Lower.
All right, up here, 1, 2, 3, and my second, and hold. Okay. Learn.
For our next awards, I'd like to ask Assistant Superintendent Yost to please come back up.
We are excited now to honor 3 of our Buccaneers with the Academic Award. So Kyle Brissett, Rowan Davenport, and Alyssa Zamora have been named commended students in the class of 2023 National Merit Scholarship Program. A letter of commendation from the National Merit Scholarship Corporation, which conducts the program, will be presented to these scholastically talented seniors who had a National Selection Index score in the top 5% of the nation out of 1.5 million students who entered the 2023 competition by taking the preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test in their 3rd year of high school. These students being named commended students have demonstrated outstanding potential for academic success. We are extremely proud of them as Buccaneers. Congratulations.
unfortunately, this does end our recognitions for the month of November, but we'll be back in December for a lot more to celebrate.
All right, at this time, in accordance with BED local, the board will provide an audience with individuals who have signed up prior to the meeting to address the board. Tonight, we do have one. Mr. Atkins will serve as our timekeeper for those who are requesting to speak to the board. Comments are limited to a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker, maximum of 30 minutes total allotted for public comment. Delegation of more than 5 shall appoint a representative. The board will not entertain negative comments on individual personnel or students in public session. Patrons are encouraged to use appropriate campus and administration channels before bringing concerns and attention to the board. And board members are not allowed to deliberate, discuss, or make decisions regarding any subject not included on the posted agenda. Tonight, we have Ms. Annalisa Infante. If you will, come up to the podium, to the microphone, so we can hear you. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, good evening. I am here to share information and ask for your support in a matter that is stemming from district-level kickbacks. My son is in the 4th grade at Beth Brandon Elementary. He receives special education services as a student with autism, ADHD, speech impairment, and a learning disability in multiple areas. In order to help you understand my concerns, I will first share a bit of information about my child. He is a bubbly jokester on any given day, but in the classroom, you'll see a child who struggles. My son struggles to write his letters and numbers. He requires heavy assistance in order to complete any written task. His reading comprehension is far below grade level, but his listening comprehension is at grade level. Yet he has an extensive vocabulary. My child cannot count, add, or subtract independently, but my child will talk your ear off about historical events and fun science facts that he listens to on YouTube and audiobooks. He is absolutely a child who doesn't fit the mold. He is simply unique in every way. As his parent, his father and I are beyond proud of him, but he is struggling and is self-aware enough that he has started to notice the differences. He tries to connect and understand why his disabilities make him different, make him the way it does. About 2 weeks ago, about a month and a half ago now, my child sat in his room and cried and had a full-blown meltdown because he is stupid, can't do anything, can't focus, and he will never be able to do anything. He just can't write, and that's what does it all. He says he can't focus, and this will never get fixed. These are all words that came from my child's mouth that ripped my heart to shreds. I am his mom and an educator. I believe that I was blessed with this child and put on his path to help my child overcome his obstacles. As his mother, I will always advocate for his needs. I will do anything possible to help him lead an independent life and make him a functional member of society. I have had to seek private-based therapies because of the lack of support from the school district. I brought recommendations from our private-based therapist to the special education teacher and provided an iPad at the start of the school year that was paid for by the TEA's Supplemental Special Education Services Fund, which was a grant for students with disabilities. His teachers were supportive of this. However, special education administrators got involved, and I was told my child is not allowed to have an iPad in school. After following up with your director of technology, I was told it's not that he is not allowed to have an iPad. I was given the incorrect information. My child is not allowed to bring his personal iPad to school. Next year, he will be moving on to RASCO, where I'm told there will be 7 class periods. Typically, services from special education are provided in the 4 core subject areas. I am concerned that unless a one-to-one aid is provided for my child, he will fall between the cracks. Now is the time to start teaching him, and I took the steps necessary to do this. I've requested an ARD, I've met with his supportive teachers, his campus administrator, and special education administrators. A child with autism struggles with social skills, and having a staff member that's by his side will only make those struggles worse. My child, for the first time in 3 years, made friends this last school year. This is how difficult social skills are for my child. I am very concerned about this matter, which is why I bring it to you today. His father and I are very concerned. We held an ARD, and the campus administration team was very supportive. However, at that time that I requested to address my specific request for an iPad, the special education coordinator and campus diagnostician intervened and redirected the conversation so that we could not come to a decision. I was informed at that time, for the first time, that additional assessment was needed, even though I had previously spoken to the director of special education. And they were aware of this matter for over 4 weeks. At the end of this ARD, incomplete information was put into my child's educational record, incorrect information. I have taken the necessary steps to request a FERPA hearing to amend the educational record to get this corrected. However, when I spoke with your assistant superintendent, Mr. Yost, he's notified me that even though he has stated his stance on this matter, he is an unbiased person to be the hearing officer in this matter. I have his responses via email. I have requested face-to-face meetings with Mr. Massey and Mr. Yost, and neither have accepted my request. I bring this issue to your attention in an attempt to gain support in finding a solution. Would a child with a wheelchair be prevented from bringing their wheelchair to school? Would a child with a communication device be prevented from bringing their voice to school? If that is the case, why is my child being prevented from bringing the same form of assistive technology to school? My son is being met with many no's from upper administration. As an educator and parent, I'm asking that my son's teachers and campus administrator be supported and trusted in making educational decisions with me to support the needs of my child. We are the ones who see his struggles. We are the ones who know his needs. And we want to see him succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item that we have on our agenda is our consent agenda this evening. Are there any items on the consent agenda to be pulled? If not, then do I have a motion? I'm sorry.
I guess I do have one. I'd like to pull item F for a couple of comments.
Item F. Okay. Then do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Last item F.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All right, it's been it's been moved by Jerry, it's seconded by Mr. Dunn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, that carries. We'll move on to our action items. Our first action item is employee early resignation notification stipends. This is Christy Kirshner. Public comments will be allowed before a vote is taken on each action item.
Good evening, Superintendent Massey, President Howard, and board members. In alignment with Board Policy CE Local and CE Legal and Board Goal number 5, the ISD will recruit, develop, and retain highly effective staff. It is my pleasure to present to you tonight regarding the proposed early resignation notification stipend. Chapter 44 of the Texas Education Code establishes the legal basis for budget development in school districts. Section 44.006 states, public funds of the school district may not be spent in any manner other than as provided for in the budget adopted by the Board of Trustees, but the board may amend the budget. All budget amendments authorized must be made prior to the close of school district fiscal year. In the 22-23 board-approved compensation plan, it also allows the Board of Trustees to review and modify stipends and incentives periodically, dependent on available funding. This strategy to initiate an early resignation notification stipend will assist the district with identifying vacant positions to place current ESSER-funded employees and to help reduce staff through attrition. Additionally, the early resignation notification stipend will allow administrators to begin the recruiting process earlier in the hiring season, as current contract employees provide early notification about their plans to resign. Brazosport ISD would like to initiate a one-time early resignation stipend payable in May of 2023 for contracted employees. This is excluding employees hired into positions funded with federal ESSER dollars who resign and/or retire on or before March 10th of 2023 in the amount of $750, or by April 30th, 2023 in the amount of $500. Administration recommends that the employee early resignation notification stipend utilizing local funds with an estimated total amount of $75,000 be approved as presented. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions about the stipend?
Yes, all right. The current ESSER-funded employees, those include teachers and paras, and et cetera. So we would be looking to fill the various openings if people choose to either retire or resign.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Now, the stipend only applies to contracted employees who
Right.
resign, so it would not apply to paraprofessionals, auxiliaries.
Oh, okay, so it's just.
It's just
Okay.
Yes, sir, just contracted employees.
So, in that case, then the ESSER-funded employees that would fill in would still have to be certified.
The ESSER-funded positions are not eligible to receive the early notification
Right.
incentive if they resign. Many of those people took the positions knowing they were ESSER-funded, and the position would only exist so long as funding. So most of those positions will be ending at the end of this school year already. And so those employees that filled the ESSER-funded positions are not eligible to receive
Right.
this incentive.
So I'm talking about the ones who may partake of the early retirement or retirement notice to be backfilled with ESSER employees.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yes.
But do we have that many certified people to fill in? I haven't reviewed the list that you all sent me, so
Yes.
I just wonder how many possibilities there may be.
We typically hire about 150 teachers a year
Right.
on average, and the number of ESSER positions is
180 something, but some of those are paraprofessional positions.
Yeah, but quite a few of them.
Yeah, a lot more.
Yeah, so we won't have, I just wonder if we'll be able to backfill, but hopefully we can, for those who are certified, can fill in, okay?
yes, sir.
All right. Any comment from the audience? Hearing none, then we have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the early resignation notification stipend.
All right. It's been moved by Mr. Dunn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Swartner. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, that carries. Thank you. Next thing we have is the employee retention stipend. Ms. Kirsten.
Good evening again. I'll continue tonight with the recommendation related to a retention and appreciation stipend for Brazosport ISD employees. I'm going to skip over the background related to education code and the compensation plan. It is the same. And for administrative considerations, there's a public purpose served and a benefit to Brazosport ISD to seek to retain employees, increase morale, and help employees focus on work they perform as we continue to overcome the lingering impacts of COVID-19. Brazosport ISD would also like to express our gratitude and recognize the efforts of district employees for their hard work and dedication during the 22-23 school year, as we are still managing these lingering effects of COVID-19 and ensuring the success of Brazosport ISD students. For Westport ISD administration, I would like to recommend a $1,000 stipend for all professional employees and certified teachers, and a $500 stipend for all auxiliary, clerical, and paraprofessional staff. To be eligible for the employee retention stipend payable in December of 2022, employees must meet the following requirements. They must be a regular full-time or part-time employee and must have a current hire date on or before December 1st, 2022. And employees must continue their employment through the remainder of the 22-23 school year. The stipend will be prorated, so you have to stay throughout the entire year. Administration recommends that the employee retention appreciation stipend of $1,000 for professionals and teachers, and another stipend, in the amount of $500 for auxiliary, clerical, and paraprofessional staff, utilizing ESSER funds in the amount of $1.4 million be approved as presented. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I think I know the answer, I just wanted to make sure. Like for maintenance and housekeeping and cafeteria workers and things, they're paraprofessionals, correct?
So they would fall into the auxiliary, they're actually within our auxiliary group, so auxiliary, clerical, and paraprofessional would all receive the $500.
So they would get that. I just
Yes.
want to make sure everybody's getting it.
Yes, ma'am, this accounts for all employees in the district.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions from the board?
Move for approval.
One second.
Before we vote, are there any questions from the audience? All right, hearing none, it has been moved by Mr. Swartner to approve the recommendation. Do I hear a second?
I think Patty did okay.
I'm sorry. Ms. Sayes, seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. All right, that passes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Items pulled from the consent agenda. Item F is the memorandum of understanding for the Missouri County Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Foundation. That's me.
Well, looking at the MOU and then in our meeting with the representative of the students, et cetera, and listening to the other superintendent that was very enlightening concerning this, I think we need to push, and I don't know if we need to do this as a formal whatever, to relook at this MOU and determine, because apparently there's we're up from 48 spots, but I guess that's down from 72, we're back to 72, so. And the laws concerning the placement, et cetera, but I'm just wondering if it's time to relook at this, because I don't think this has ever changed since the last 10 years. So, the number-wise is concerning, and the number that, with the bigger districts and Alvin going like crazy, et cetera, I think we need to have the county, to relook at this, I think, and restudy it and make sure it's up to date, so. I don't know if we need that as a form of motion, or, I have no problem approving the MOU, but I think it's time for this board to say, hey, let's take a look at this, because it's not working as well as it used to. And we need it, unfortunately.
I kind of agree with Mr. Atkins. One thing that even though I didn't vote to pull it, I always wondered, times have changed so much with all the social media and, all the different things that's happened in the past 10 years. And I'm wondering if some of the education, some of the things that they're teaching them out there are things that they need to stress. You know, I'm trying to say it's part of the programs out there. I would like to see if they've been updating them. Not that it may matter or not matter, I would just like to see if their program of work and if they've been keeping up. Not that we would have an alternative, but just a way to kind of gently push them and have them a chance to look at their offerings and what they're doing to make sure that they're keeping up with our needs if we're having a MOU with them.
Certainly noted, Mr. Atkins. Thank you for that. Thanks for your advocacy with Mr. Whitehead going to meet with Mr. Basut. The county superintendents do meet quarterly at JJAP and receive regular updates. And the good thing about this MOU is the cost has not gone up. The $100 per kid per day is quite a deal, and that has been the same for as long as I can remember. And so that is good. But I think what Mr. Atkins is referring to, that we're advocating for also too is with filling up with liquid THC has become a felony, and most counties it's not, but it is in our county, and it's restricting, so they're full, and so we can't send kids that actually need to go. So thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Atkins.
And the fact that Alvin has about half.
Yeah, Alvin's grown quite a bit too, yeah, so we are certainly evaluating all of our student management.
I should have separated that more, because I knew that was about that, but
Yeah.
just while we were on the subject, I wanted
Yeah.
to throw that in there.
Thank you.
Because it's not a felony in other places, correct?
Right.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the MOU as presented and request the administration to work with the county to see, and other county superintendents to see if we can revise the MOU and update it. It's gonna be some headwinds with the county, but good luck.
But it was clearly the issue of the day at the meeting, so.
A second.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Atkins and seconded by Ms. Sayes, not only to approve it, but also to have the administration dig deeper with the other districts for more information. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed by nay. All right, that passes.
That, in fact, no public funds for private schools, right?
That day there wasn't any.
I want to play.
That day there wasn't. It is the next day.
The next item we have on our agenda are reports. Again, public comment will be allowed on each report. Our first report is curriculum-based assessment, also known as CBA. Mr. Brian Cole.
Thank you. Good evening. In accordance with Board Policy EH Local and District Goal, Brazos-Port ISD will provide a rigorous and relevant learning experience to ensure that every student will be future ready. It is my pleasure to present a report on our fall curriculum-based assessments. At the district level, curriculum-based assessments, or CBAs, indicate relative performance of campuses and classrooms. They provide us with the needed information to study and replicate best practices across the district, and to mobilize resources to support areas for growth in classrooms. CBAs only assess a portion of the scope and sequence. These assessments are subject to change every year as we amend the scope and sequence, along with questions on the assessment annually. The data from CBAs is best used to determine the needs of this year's classrooms on this year's scope and sequence. CBAs are designed to maintain the level of rigor of the state standards and applicable STAR examinations. Questions are selected to align to the rigor of those standards and the STAR test. Thus, the passing standard used by the state as a minimum threshold is also used for our CBAs. As we design CBAs, questions are selected from multiple banks, then aligned to the calendar so that only items that should have been taught are tested. Teachers are provided time to vet each CBA, then blueprints and guidelines for testing are provided. Additionally, this year we continue to seek feedback from each teacher that provided a CBA to find out what went well and what could be improved. We'll continue to use this data to improve CBAs as we move forward each year. Results have already been analyzed by teacher, campus, and district teams with a focus on what do the results mean. Why are they important, and what should we do about them now? At the district level, we work to respond to curriculum-based assessments by identifying high and low-performing classrooms. We work throughout the year to visit classrooms and dig deeper into what the data says as we work to identify best practices and replicate those across the district to ensure that all of our students are learning at high levels. Now let me walk you through the data tables you're about to see. At the elementary level, campuses are arranged horizontally. You'll see 5 rows below each of the campuses. The first row tells you the percent of students that passed the CBA last year. The third row tells you the percent of students that passed the CBA this year. Then the second row will show you how a campus did in comparison to the district average last year, while the fourth row shows you how a campus performed in comparison to the district average this year. Thus, this allows us to identify certain campuses that are excelling in particular curricular areas for further exploration, or campuses that may need additional support. Then, the final row allows us to see how a campus has gained or lost ground between this year and last year when compared to the district. This gives us an idea on which campuses we have seen significant growth or decline between this year and last. At the secondary level, you'll see the same information, only this time the campuses are arranged vertically rather than horizontally because there's much fewer of them. So we'll begin by taking a look at third grade math. As we look at third grade math, we see that Austin and Brown Elementary made significant improvement over last year, while Ogg, Griffith, and Velasco have both shown declines while remaining below the district average. Campus administrators, content and instructional support are already present at campuses that have shown decline. You'll see that trend will continue with campuses in need of support as we move forward. As we look at fourth grade math, we see that Austin Elementary made significant improvement over last year, while Griffith did have a decline. Most other campuses remained relatively stable in fourth grade math. In fifth grade math, you'll also notice that Ogg Elementary is included and represents the Gifted and Talented Academy as they take fifth grade math and fifth grade reading. Additionally, we see that Clute Intermediate School made significant gains, while SFA dropped in their data. SFA will remain a focus area for our math team. As we move to sixth grade math, Lanier saw a significant decline, so the plan will be to have our campus content specialist and coordinator, along with the administrative team there, work closely with the sixth grade team to support instruction. Rasco was well above the district average. In seventh grade math, a small increase at Clute was seen with an equivalent decrease at Lake Jackson Intermediate year over year. In eighth grade, all campuses remained fairly close to the district average. For Algebra 1, Brazosport High School clearly leads our two traditional high schools. Our intermediate reflects students who take Algebra 1 in the 8th grade, and that's at Clute, Freeport, and Lake Jackson. As we take a closer look at the key strengths and areas of improvement in math, problem solving is a key element in math classrooms across the district. Students are being exposed to rigorous math problems during the CBAs to help prepare them for the mock and stars. Key strengths and areas of improvement remain the same from last year's data for the most part. Learning gaps are still evident, and we are working to ensure that supporting standards are being scaffolded in during instruction to help fill learning gaps. Students across the district that struggle with multi-step problems, which continues to be an area of support, are being taught the WIP problem-solving model to help them understand how to solve a problem. Now, as we transition to to science, in 5th grade science, Clute Intermediate School saw a significant decline from last year when compared to the district average, whereas Lanier improved significantly. Now we'll move on to 8th grade science. As we explore 8th grade, Clute Intermediate made great gains, though it remains below the district average once again. Campus principals and support staff are working to ensure the needs of our students are met. At the high school level, in biology, we do not see any significant changes for our traditional campuses. Brazoswood High School still has improved a little bit on their previous performance. Within science, teachers are having students create and reference word walls throughout their units of study. Teachers are utilizing strategies that help students to think critically while using word walls and other problem solving. During professional learning communities, teachers persistently explore their frameworks and curriculum for planning. The key areas for improvement within science are in 5th grade, students are learning how to build their process skills throughout every lesson. And in 8th grade, we're continuing to provide supports for many new teachers that have joined our team. As we move to reading in elementary school, most campuses were very close to the district average for 3rd grade. Velasco made a large gain over last year, while we did see Austin and Brandon have some decline. In 4th grade, reading, Ogg improved by 7 points and Stephen F. Austin 23 points over last year's comparison to the district. Roberts and Boyle showed marked decline. In 5th grade, Lanier showed marked decline, while Lanier showed an increase over last year. Well, you will see grade, reading language arts, we saw the largest decline at Freeport Intermediate, while Lake Jackson Intermediate's performance is even higher than that of last year. In 8th grade, all campuses were within 2 points of the district average. In English 1, we see that Brazosport High School has shown a decline when compared to the district average, while Brazos Wood has seen an improvement in comparison to the district's average. In English 2, Brazosport High School is leading the campuses with a 7% improvement over last year's performance. As we examine the strengths and areas for improvement in reading, the strengths we can see across the district in RLA fall into the oral and foundational language comprehension strands of the Reading Language Arts peaks. The standards represented by these strengths are repeated in multiple grade levels and are the basis for more difficult tasks of analyzing and synthesizing. In elementary, students are improving on understanding genre characteristics, which is an important foundational skill for our author's purpose and craft, as well as the analysis of text. In the 5th through 12th grade levels, students are additionally able to identify characteristics of most genres and the simplest versions of responding to text. The difficulty changes as students apply the skills to more and more complex text in each grade level. For areas of improvement, in elementary, students are being supported with foundational skills in order to read fluently at grade level. Consistent guided reading will support growth of foundational reading skills. We know that comprehension will gradually increase with a student's ability to read fluently and with continued practice. Across all secondary, students struggled connecting the individual author's moves, like organization or literary elements in language, with meaning, such as tone, theme, mood, and voice, and effectively writing about the text. This is the highest level of analysis and continues to grow in complexity as learners grow. It continues to be a focus as part of our Tier 1 instructional priorities through mini lessons, reader's response, and explicit and systematic writing instruction. Now we will transition to social studies. As we look at 8th grade, our campuses, we see a growth at Clute Intermediate School. Well, this year, Lake Jackson Intermediate School saw a decline of nearly 7 points. In United States history at the high school, Brazos Wood continues to lead the group, while most campuses remain fairly close to the district average. Within social studies, you can see our strengths represented on this slide. One of the highlights that we continue to support is something called Mapping Mondays and Timeline Tuesdays that are part of our history fluency routine to provide a weekly spiral review for students. For areas of improvement, the concepts that you see on this slide will challenge our students and will continue to be spiraled throughout the year to ensure mastery. Ultimately, the purpose of collecting data is so that we can take action to ensure that all students in all classrooms are learning at high levels as we replicate best practices and come alongside to support in areas of need. And that work is well underway. This is report only, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions from the board? In the audience? All right, thank you, Mr. Cole.
Thank you.
Next item under reports is the bond planning and construction update. Mr. Alec Gournay.
Good evening. In accordance with Board Policy CV Local, it is my pleasure to present the planning and construction update for the 2019 bond program. As of November 2022, we are at 64.55% completed or in progress. This is a aerial shot of Beewood that was taken in mid-November by the contractor. A lot has happened since then. We have trees and grass, and almost all of the landscaping is now in place. And this is another view just looking at the rear of the campus. over at Brazosport High School, athletic improvements. This is a rear view at the girls softball, at the press box, restrooms, and booster room building. Coming along very well and on schedule. And this is a view on the field side. And over at the new field house, this shot gives you an idea of how big it is when you see the existing field house in the background. This one's moving along on schedule as well. And this is a shot looking back towards the campus as well as the practice fields. And then this is looking from the north, looking to the south, the existing campus. And for Brazosport High School CTE, we're getting into the final stages of the design of this project. We have gone through numerous changes, getting this thing as close to budget as possible. And we have a meeting coming up next week, which will get us close to our 90% drawings. And then we'll go out to bid in January and come to the board for a March GMP. This is a rendering of something very similar to what the front entry of the building will look like. And then this is a floor plan with the new addition, which is in the red square, which has the cosmetology and the vet tech and floral, as well as some restrooms and such. And then above that is part of the existing renovations, which will include the art and AV labs, as well as a flex classroom and a health science classroom. And then this is an overall view where of all of the areas that will be renovated in the at the bottom part's the new addition, and then the other parts are the areas that will all be renovated. It will all look brand new inside when we're done. And this is a rendering of what you've seen before of the welding labs and wood shops, which this is from the back drive, looking at their outdoor area as well as the covered area outside their shops. And this is a floor plan of the 4 shops, and at the bottom is the corridor, interior corridor that runs the full length of the building. And then at the top of the drawing is the covered areas outside of their shops, where they have some working areas, and then the very large outdoor area as well. And that's it for tonight, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Anticipated completion of the softball basketball?
It's scheduled to be completed by January 1st. We have to wait. It's got to quit raining, though. It started raining. The hard part's done.
Any other questions from the board?
Beewood's gonna be ready to go January 2?
Yes, sir. All we have left over there really is the striping.
I probably should already know this. Do we know what the plans for the old Brazosport field house is?
Yes, the old Brazosport field house, the metal structure, which is very similar to the blue room, that remains. And then we tear down the existing part of the building, the mostly block building. That all gets torn down, and that becomes a parking lot.
Okay. So the metal structure that stays is going to be covered parking?
That's going to be an indoor workout area.
Just a green room? Okay.
Red room. I'm assuming
Red room.
that's
Indoor workout. Okay.
Yeah, it's currently the weight room. It has been.
Yeah.
That'll stay with the lockers.
All that part will.
Yeah.
Okay.
The front of it will get a new skin on it when we tear away the part that gets demoed.
Okay.
Okay, this is kind of picky, but on the CTE on the front, when you were showing it, it just looks like a plumbing pole, like at one, can they make it like rounder if it has to be a pole? I mean, even if it's not, if it's fake, or if they could do like a brick over it or something?
It's actually metal, and it's got a skin around it. It's almost identical to what we have across the street at Beewood.
It is,
It's
okay.
very large.
It's large and it's not,
The
okay.
picture, the
very artsy.
Yeah, the picture doesn't really make it pop like it
Yeah,
will.
it does make it look cute.
It'll be similar to what we have at the front of the Beewood campus, the main campus, as well as PTE.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board, comments, audience? All right, hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Next report, any board committee reports from the board? All right. Next item that we have then is scheduling for upcoming events. Our next regularly scheduled board meeting is scheduled for December the 12th, 2022 at 6 o'clock. Next item we have is executive session. It may be called for the purposes permitted by the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Section 551.071 through 551.146. Sections 551.071, consultation with attorneys, Section 551.071 on any agenda item, Sections 551.72 for the purpose of discussing the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, Section 551.074 personnel matters, appointment, employment evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, dismissal, or complaint, Section 551.082 for the purpose of considering discipline of a public school child or complaint or charge against personnel. We shall return.
I'm using Mr. Schwartner's bag.
All right, it is officially 8, call it 10. 8:10, and we are reconvening.
I've never used one.
Unless there are any objections,